Hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel, Prince of Queens live streams. And I am joined once again by Our Cat's Gay, the
Oh,
new YouTube channel that I am telling people to subscribe to and be on
thank
my
you.
streams because he is a fellow critical, you know,
Alt gay? No,
alt
let's not use alt.
gay.
Let's not use
Yeah,
alt.
let's not. Um,
That there are too many alts right now. No, we're just gays that are
um,
critical, skeptical, gay skeptic. I don't know, but
Um,
we're
dissident,
something.
dissident.
Yes, dissidents. Yeah, we are fighting against corruption of the rainbow or
Yeah,
something.
and like, you know what? Fucking, okay. So, we're definitely not going to actually talk about the YouTube drama, but I will say one of the main reasons why is because, one of the things, um,
The Antifa
um,
informant.
well, no, I just wanted to say that just in general, you and I have a bunch of stuff to talk about.
Oh
Like,
yes,
we are people that, like, we ended up sort of in the skeptic sphere or
it
whatever, just because
ish.
yeah, ish, because they were talking about
Feminism and
feminism and SJWs and blah blah blah. But I think that each of us had a personal attachment to talking about that stuff because it was destroying our fucking social reality.
not was it's currently destroying
Yeah,
everything. But like, LGBTQ plus, like like if they add any more letters, like
yeah.
we're
Ev-
yeah.
yeah. I mean, they already had pride parades and all of that stuff that was long ago taken over by SJWs, and we kind of knew that, and we just sort of accepted it. But then they started sort of coming for the gay bars, and
They came for Grinder, for God's sakes.
yeah, now they've even came after the hookup applications, and they are so like we have a very personal investment in like talking about this stuff, and we're going to be talking about it for a while because
Oh
we're
yes.
gay guys, and like it's not going away in our neck of the woods anytime soon. So like when I say, oh, YouTube drama, blah blah blah, it's not like I'm saying that none of the stuff matters, blah blah blah. It just means that like I really do have other crap to talk about, and our cat's gay is somebody that similarly has other crap to talk about. So, you wanted to talk briefly before we get into the article that we're going to look at. Oh, and by the way, you guys can donate to me on Streamlabs. I have my channel called Prince of Queens Live Streams. Hold on, I put it in the side chat, and I will.
Let the donations flow.
Yeah, last time I got, I believe one
$5
$5. Yeah, like one $5 chat. So, ooh,
to be someone's daddy
yeah,
for
to be
three
someone's
minutes.
daddy. Yeah, if you want to, like get me to say something,
He
uh,
will totally be your daddy for money.
I will totally act like I'm your daddy for money for a second. Hi, everybody. Hi, Yosef or Yosef or fucking hell. I always forget how to say your name because yeah. So, where's the Streamlabs thing? I need to get the Streamlabs thing open. Um, but okay, while I do that, you should talk about. So, you were talking about having a problem with a person that you believe has antisocial personality disorder.
Oh, yes. So I remember watching your last video, one of your last videos, where you were talking about a friend of yours who had antisocial personality disorder,
Who I
and it
believe.
was
I believe. I don't. I mean, he hasn't been like
well,
diagnosed.
well, well, no, yeah, none of us know unless we're like in the psychologist's office, but it sounded like it. And I had a friend, a really close friend, who lived with me for about a year and a half. Who, when you were describing that, all of that craziness, it's like, oh my god, that's him. It.
Hmm.
I had. He was a really good friend. I thought, charming, handsome, just a real magnetic personality. But living with him, not seeing him in short bursts, I realized, oh my god, that superficial, like that charm that you get for like when you're seeing someone for like an hour or two at a time, like every few weeks, you think, oh, what an interesting person. It's like, wow, that's really all there is. Like he does not care about me. He does not care about anything that isn't directly about him. His whole life is just about, what he can get out of me, out of his mother, out of his whatever boyfriend is dumb enough to fall for him at that moment. It's
Yeah.
all, yeah, like literally no ability to actually empathize with anyone. Like, and he would always just talk at length about what a caring and understanding person he was, but only so much as he could talk about how it made him, this incredible, magnanimous person. And
Yep. That's
it
exactly
was
how
just
this person was too.
it was just a big joke, honestly. Just it was just terrible. And I was stuck with him for a year and a half after I realized that he was completely nuts because California renting laws. He was living in my house, and I think he paid me rent once.
Uh,
And yeah, then he just sort of stopped. And I mean, it got so bad that he attacked me and my husband at one point, and there was still like basically nothing we could do about it because I mean he didn't like beat us up or anything, but I mean, well, actually he bit my husband,
oh my
but I know, but my husband didn't want to press charges because he believed in him because my husband had substance abuse issues a long time ago, and so he has strong feelings about trying to bring people back because people brought him back.
yeah.
And eventually we realized, oh, wait a minute, you actually
It's
wanted to get better. This guy does not. He's literally just using his self spiral of destruction as
uh-huh.
like a passport to, or not passport, but like a mandate. Just do whatever the fuck he wants because like, oh, I have so many problems. I'm trying to get better. I'm on the road to recovery. It's like, yeah, but you've been in recovery for like, I don't know, like the entire time I've known you, and it never stopped you from drinking or smoking meth or doing just stupid shit, which I don't want. And, well, I mean, I drink. Anyone who knows me knows that I do drink. Not
Uh-huh.
too much sometimes, but I have never touched anything like that because I don't want to. I'm a nurse. I don't want to lose my license, and I just know how bad that stuff is.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, he. Yeah, it's just really sad when you have someone in your life who you believe is this great, kind, and caring person, and you realize that like you've just fallen in love with like basically a mask. Whenever and we used to joke that it was like, I mean, no one knows. We his name was Gabe, and so we used to say whenever he went off the deep end, we'd say, "Oh, that was the Gabe suit," because it was that wasn't Gabe, that was someone who wore him like a suit. And then we realized, oh no, the person that we think is the real Gabe is actually the suit. That's the real person there, and it was terrifying and disturbing. So yeah, that's what I felt when I watched your video.
Huh.
I hope
Yeah.
your experience wasn't as traumatic as mine, but
Well, I mean, yours, no, I mean, mine actually kind of was in certain ways
I
because,
was afraid of that.
yeah, like, okay, so this guy, he was a shitty friend, starting in elementary school. Okay, so like, I just thought he was like quiet and like didn't really know how to connect to people. But no, he would repeatedly betray me. Like there was this other friend that like the three of us were friends. We were all like little messed up kids because we had messed up
Mhm.
home lives. Um,
The alliance of hopelessness.
and they would occasionally team up to be okay. So the honest truth was that I was better friends with either of them than they were ever friends with each other, right?
Hmm.
Um, and occasionally they would decide that they didn't want to be my friend and be dicks to me. And it was fun for them. But then their little friendship where they were just friends with each other would never actually last very long
Hmm.
because they I don't know. I think I was actually a generally more socially decent person that you could maybe actually be friends with. And I'm saying this because like this other guy's a fucking sociopath, and the other dude ended up killing himself a few years ago.
Oh my god, that's awful.
Yeah, he fucking blew his brains out.
Oh
So yeah,
god.
no, that guy had fucking issues. They both did. My childhood
Uh,
friends both had issues, and I
that must have been
did
hard.
too. I largely worked them out in by my early 30s, but like I've only been completely sober relatively for like the last 5 months. And
Hmm.
like I drank a few over Christmas. I drank on I had a friend in town, and then I drank on Christmas Eve and Christmas, but not even a lot. Like each time I had like 3 drinks. So it's not like I even got drunk. I got a little bit of a buzz, just enough to feel like I was getting like I had
You
kind
were
of
feeling free.
not even really, like I started to get fucking sort of groggy and headachy, and I was like, God, I forgot about
Uh,
that part of
yeah,
drinking.
that's like not the good kind of drinking at all.
Yeah, it was weird. So, yeah, every time I've drunk, it's like I've haven't really had that good of a time over the past 5 months. It's like maybe my body just doesn't want it anymore.
Maybe, I
And
don't know. It depends what you're drinking. Sometimes it's just a question of finding, the
yeah,
alcohol that suits your personality.
yeah, I don't know. Regardless, the one dude, so he was kind of a dick in childhood. Like he would do these dickish things with the other kid that we were friends with, and then in high school, he was a closet case all of high school, and he was actually really weird about it, and would like, if anybody, because everybody knew that he was gay, it was really obvious. Like,
Yeah, it sounds like me in middle school.
he would make fun of me for sounding kind of like Cartman when I would get mad. But honestly, he sounded like fucking Mr. Slave. So seriously,
Oh, that's much
like,
worse.
yeah,
Oh,
it's like I would love to somehow, like, because he said my like when I get pissed off on my YouTube channel, he's like, you think that you're so self-righteous, but everybody thinks you just sound like Cartman, and it's like, okay, well,
that's
first of
really
all,
not much of an insult.
well, yeah, it's like, first of all, you don't actually have any friends, really. Like, you don't have any real friends, and you haven't
Burn.
ever. Well, I didn't say that, but I
You
mean,
were thinking it loudly.
yeah, and it's like, fucking hell, like nobody ever liked you unless I was around, pretty much, or you were fucking them, and they were a size queen, and they just liked your dick.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but like, and
For
his
anyone who
voice.
doesn't know, having a big dick in the gay community is basically a get out of jail free card for a lot of them. Like it's
For certain guys, for
I'd say for
certain,
a huge percentage of gay people, like even if they're not actually going to do anything with you, like if they know you have a large penis,
I think,
they automatically like you more.
if I don't know if that's true. I think if guys are known to have a nice dick, then it's a lot, like if it's a good, like, legit 8 inches, that's, but this guy's was like really, really thick, and like you just wouldn't want it in you. Like and if you were the type of guy that like could take it, um, you would have to like permanently alter your asshole, kind of.
Like, well, you become an honorary fister at that point. Oh,
Sort of, yeah. It's like, dude,
what?
no, like
We're going to just push everyone out of our stream now.
the vast majority of guys would just not want to let a dick like that inside them, and I would not blame them. Like I don't have like a particularly large dick. It's like big enough to be big, but it's not so big that any guy is scared of me fucking them, and that's, to be perfectly honest, that's why I've fucked so goddamn many guys in my life.
We have friendly penises. They're not overly aggressive and not too meek.
Yeah, it's like, so
Oh my
but
god.
uh so he would like
Are we
freak
really
out in
talking
high
about
school.
this?
He would freak out in high school when people would accuse him of being gay, because he sounded like Mr. Slave and acted super gay. But he would, like, storm out of the room and be like all upset, and it was really kind of weird. And then a lot of things actually went on that I'm not going to talk about because I don't want to reveal his identity. But when I moved to the San Francisco Bay Area, where he ended up residing, I moved there in late 2007, and so I hadn't lived near him since 2000, the year 2000, and so basically I didn't really know him in adult life all that well. I just considered him my oldest friend, and when I moved to the San Francisco Bay Area, I learned that he had mental problems, and I didn't ever know that about him. And when I say mental problems, I mean that he actually had been diagnosed as bipolar. He had a hospitalization, and he didn't really talk about it that much, but he told me that it happened.
Mm.
So it was like, oh, there's this whole side of you that I didn't, and I would, I sort of tried to ask about it, and I honestly didn't even really believe him about the hospitalization. I was like, maybe he committed himself or whatever. I don't know. Like it seems so suspicious, but apparently it was true because a few years I after he had told me that he ended up living in an anarchist squat. So he had a boyfriend who he was living with for a long time, who was an older guy who was in his early 40s and was a nurse and was very really nice guy, pretty socially awkward, recovering drug addict guy who I think attended AA meetings,
Oh God,
but would occasionally, very very occasionally, relapse. But he
they
was
all
really.
relapse because there's very little evidence that 12-step programs actually work. But
Mm.
that's a whole other stream.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that people who actually get sober do it because they just feel like getting sober, like I did.
It's a personal thing. Like if you think that a program or a religion or a pill or any outside thing
Yeah,
is going
yeah,
to, yeah, it's not going to work.
yeah. You have to. I even fucking quit smoking like 3 or 4 days ago, and I haven't even fucking. I stopped thinking about cigarettes already. So like so the other guy was used to be a party boy, and he's cute too. This guy in the early 40s, like he was still cute. Like I can see why my former friend would fuck him and everything. Like I can
Mhm.
understand. um uh but
Cute boys, bane of all existence.
yeah, but so he lived with that guy, and then after a while, when I was in town, my friends started. My former friend, he was very socially awkward. He didn't have a lot of friends, and he wasn't good at making friends. But when I moved to town, all of a
All of a
sudden he
sudden,
had a lot of friends because I was good at making friends, and
the social butterfly effect.
yeah, and so he was able to kind of like ride on my coattails and become a party boy,
Hmm.
and or a bit of a party boy. And I think that I bet that me coming to town was a major catalyst of his boyfriend breaking up with him. Like his
No
boyfriend
pressure.
didn't dislike me as a person, like, but I'm pretty sure that he did not like
Your
my
influence.
friendship. Yeah, yeah, because he was always actually quite nice to me, and like I could tell that he thought that I was cool, but it just was that, like, yeah, how this other guy would, how my friend would act. So uh after a while they broke. Okay, no, the nurse dude, the boyfriend, ended up buying a condo, right? He ended up buying a condo, and my former friend ended up moving into an anarchist like loft thing.
Oh God, like those horrible warehouses that kept burning down all over Oakland a few years ago.
Yeah, yeah. And kind of like that kind of a thing. But one with a particular emphasis on like activism and shit. Like so like, and there was probably like at least I think probably like 5 to 7 people living there at all times. So there was a fair amount of people living there, and um, and they were all like weird people and paranoid and like fucking weird.
Regular people don't live in warehouses. I mean,
Mhm.
if they've been converted into like overpriced lofts, sure. But yeah,
Yeah.
generally speaking, if you, it's like, hey, these people they live in a warehouse. You're like, that's a warning sign to me at least.
So
I've
it
never met a normal person who's like, yeah, I live in a warehouse with a bunch of people.
so it didn't take long for, like, he probably was there for about 2 months before he had a full blown like bipolar manic episode.
Mm.
And he I don't really remember the series of events because I mean I was having my own substance problems at the time, and so I don't really remember it that well. But
Mm.
I had to fucking take care of his ass, and like like he was saying that he was gonna fucking kill people, and not to say he was gonna kill people, but he said he was gonna kill himself, and all sorts of crap
Oh,
like that. And it was really hard to like
goodness.
it was really hard to get him any care because this was in San Francisco and there is services, but they're fucking filled to the brim because there's so many crazy people in San Francisco. And so it was like,
Yeah, all the homeless people want to live in San Francisco because the city will give. I mean, if you can get on the list, they'll give you anything in a
yeah, but
house.
there's a
Yeah.
long list.
Oh yes, like, you're gonna have to start like taking people out in order. Maybe that's what he was talking about, getting like knocking people off the list so we can get
No, I don't think he
services.
was talking about killing other people. I think I
That was
think
a
I
bad
just
joke.
misspoke. I think yeah. I think he was but he did talk about killing himself and
That's
uh
very common.
yeah, yeah. And it was crappy too because, but he ended up in a fucking kind of a like recovery center. Like most of the people there were drug addicts. I think he was the only person that was just like a crazy person that was there. And I would go visit him and then um I decided I think that I proposed this. But I was like, I was not gonna like they decided that he could leave the thing after like, maybe a week or so, the little recovery place, and I was like, I am not gonna let you move back into that fucking anarchist house. Like that's not okay.
Oh, so you decided or sort of like try to be his anchor type of thing.
Yeah, so I let him fucking stay with me for 3 or 4
Yes,
months. And
that's how I ended up with my crazy friend.
oh god. Oh, see, and well, okay, well, I at least knew this motherfucker since childhood, so I figured I was supposed to do that, right?
Yeah,
But
no, we knew him for a few years, and we were like we basically thought of him as a member of our family. Like my
uh,
husband and I, we used to joke like we're a throuple. There's like all three of us were just one big marriage. Like,
uh,
but yeah, and then he broke up with his boyfriend over like just I don't even remember, just stupid stuff, and we were only getting his side of it, and so we of course took his side because we
yeah,
thought, oh my god, you're yeah, of course we'll yeah, come right in.
you didn't think he was a pathological liar.
Nope, no. We foolishly believed that he was a kind, caring human being who loved us, and it's like, oh no, you're just a sad shell of a person that, well, it's a very nice shell, but yeah, it was not worth it, not even close.
Yeah, so, like I I decided that he could stay with me after the crazy spell, and he had a job. He was a bike messenger, or like a rickshaw peddler, because he's just really addicted to riding bikes.
So he's like a courier person.
Yeah, I think he was doing rickshaw pedaling at that moment. And he's just the type of person where he
He
likes
must
to
have been in
go.
great shape.
Yeah, he's in good shape. He's always in good shape, and he likes to ride his bike around. And he's pretty good looking. Like he's not, it's not like he's not like super hot, but some people think that he is.
If you're a
Um,
compulsive bike rider, you probably at least have amazing glutes.
yeah, his legs and butt are pretty nice. And he has a really big dick. So,
Hmm.
um, but
Well, yeah, problem solved.
um, but regardless, so he had that job, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, so this has to be, I have to think smart about this. I can't just let him stay with me indefinitely because that's sets a weird precedent because like he might just fucking stay. And I also
And
don't
they
want
will.
I don't want him to just owe me shit because we're supposed to be friends for a long time. Yeah, so I don't want it to be something where like I'm like lording this thing over him. So I told him that he could stay with me and that he should. And I think that I set the price for exactly what he was paying at the anarchist place, which was like 375.
Did he actually pay you?
He did, except for 1 month where I apparently maybe he didn't have the money, so he just screamed at me until I gave up and like just let him not pay me. Um,
Oh, nice.
yeah, it was yeah, he had like a screaming fit to get out of paying. But it so he stayed with me and like he was recovering from this spell and he wouldn't stop talking about this guy that had just broken up with him, the one guy that he actually thought that he was in love with, but I really just think that he thought that because the guy was cute. Um,
Hmm.
because like I don't know, they didn't ever really talk all that. He didn't really talk about the guy and like why he liked him and like what like their bond was is it was just kind of like
Yeah, yeah. My friend was just like that. He had
his
he had a hot boyfriend, and literally, I don't think they ever did anything except fight and fuck. That was all they ever did.
See, I don't even think that they hung out that much. But I don't know. See, here's the thing. When this guy would talk, he wouldn't describe social interactions very well, and like you wouldn't feel like you had a vivid picture of how like the way that you tell me the story about this guy, I feel like I can like sort of imagine this guy. But like when he would talk about people, it was always so vague, and you never felt like you had any real sense of like
Well, because
what he
people
was.
like this can't really, they don't understand other people. They can only understand people as they relate to them.
Yeah,
So,
that's sort of what I think. So he um he was all crazy and uh just kind of annoying when he was obsessively he would obsessively talk about this guy, and like just I would give him these like sort of like therapy sessions, but it was always um
God, we lived like parallel lives because I did the same thing and it never worked.
yeah, it never worked. There was no getting him, and it was just sort of like, honestly, like the sense that I got from it was that he was just enraged that he didn't get his way, you know? Like he couldn't contemplate that, like that
Reality
this
didn't work out this way.
yeah, this guy didn't want to be with him, and he still totally liked the guy, and it didn't have anything to do with the fact that the guy had just bought a new condo and blah blah blah. Like there wasn't any like explanation that he could. It was just like, no, he didn't like you. Like you can't, like he couldn't
Mhm.
accept that.
It's
Like,
emotional toddlerism.
yeah, and uh, and I don't think that, and it never even seemed like their relationship was that great anyway. It was like, um, like yeah, but
You can't have a
then
relationship
after
with
okay,
people that have no empathy.
so after that, he found a spot to live in this other place, right? And he lived there for a while. And oh, and when he was living with me, he took his medications, right? He took the medications that they gave him for being bipolar, and he took them. And immediately when he moved out of my place, he went off them. And he went to the new place, and there was this landlady that lived in the place with him that he was friends with, who she's a bad person. Like
Mm.
well, I don't want to say bad person, but she's the type of person who owns a pit bull that bites everybody, and she swears that it's really nice, but it's bitten at least like 15 fucking people. And um she
Picture
kind of
granted.
she also treats a lot of her she likes to take in people who are like downtrodden, because
Broken.
she thinks of herself as some sort of like charity lady. So she was kind of like that with him, and um he went off his medications, and probably about 9 months, maybe a year later, he had another episode. um but the second time, instead of me being the person who could like ground him and talk to him and like make him, say that he wasn't going to kill himself, the second time, half of his psychosis revolved around obsessing over me.
Yeah. Um,
And
I swear I'm not just saying stuff to agree with you, but it is absolutely terrifying how similar our experiences have been. Because, yeah, I think what happens is when you have a person like this where you you help them the first time, because it's always a bunch of episodes, you help them and they get a little bit better, usually in the short term, and then they get just well enough to think that they don't need you or their meds or whatever, and then they stop doing whatever was making them better. Then
uh-huh.
their lives start to fall apart again, and
and then
somehow it's
and
your
then you
fault.
try to help them, and then they're like, I don't need your help, fuck you.
Hmm. If I had arms in this avatar, I'd be snapping right now, but I actually can't snap. I think I'm the only gay man in the universe who can't snap. Can you get
So
disability for that?
uh yeah, well, and keep in mind, like, I also knew him my entire life, and like, you haven't seen pictures of me, but I was quite cute, and he, I think, was always kind of obsessed with me, and like he tried to hook up with me at least 3 different times that I
Mm.
remember. Um, and very, very tried to hook up with me. Like, the one time in particular, I made the mistake of like doing MDMA with him. I don't do
I have
drugs.
never done Molly before.
Well, I used to do those type of things. So,
I took ecstasy once a long time ago, but no one said not to mix it with alcohol, and I ended up puking uncontrollably the entire night. So that was
oh,
pretty much the first and only time I ever tried ecstasy.
uh, so I did it with and ended up alone with him, and I made the mistake of getting okay. So like, if you can imagine, if I do things like that, I end up talking a bunch. Not surprising,
I
right?
would
And so I was
imagine.
mostly just talking a bunch, mostly just talking a bunch, and then I realized that I was cold. I was probably coming down, right?
Hmm.
And so and he was in my bed, and so I got into the bed with him,
Oh boy.
because I was still kind of high, and he seriously cock slapped me. I turned away from him, and he started like cock slapping me for like 20 minutes, and I was like laughing, kind of like I was like, oh my
Jesus.
I,
uh,
because I didn't know what to do. You know, it's like I've known this guy for so long, and we were high, and like I could have been totally weird about it, but I just decided against it. You know, and so,
I think I've said before, this is probably what does separate us because if I had been drinking, I am I'll admit it, I'm a whore.
mm,
Um, I'm not a bad person, but if we're both willing and we're both able, that well, who knows? But yeah,
I
but
usually won't have sex with people that I have a legit friendship with.
I've not had too many opportunities to have sex with friends. I had sex with this person,
Mm,
but yeah, that's about it. I think it helps in that department because most of my friends are straight,
uh-huh.
and is you know unlike I'll admit, every gay guy says that they want a straight guy, but I don't think they really want a straight guy, not a real one. They just want a butch man.
Hmm.
I would never try to sleep with my straight friends. I tried that once a long time ago, and it was such a bad idea. It just destroyed everything. So yeah,
Yeah.
not doing that again.
Yeah, I've mostly been the type of guy who like avoids having sex with guys that are gonna be my friends, which is weird because a lot of the time if you're a gay guy, if you hook up with someone at first and then you decide not to date, like a lot of guys will have better friendships if you do that. Like if you have like one hookup and but regardless, I never wanted to hook up with this guy. I felt like it would have been I don't know, like I remember when him from the fucking fourth grade, you know, that's weird.
That
Like,
that would be a little strange.
so but yeah,
Should
so
we
he
rename this chat from Antifa informant to gay sociopathic dramas?
oh right, right. God, I got onto this long story. So anyhow, when the second time that he went crazy, he fucking um it was like he was like paranoid about me and like thinking that I was, you know, like trying to screw him over. And um, we thought that maybe he was going to try to start talking about like, okay, like it became clear that I was powerless and he was paranoid about me. And his sister was like, um, just like, oh shit, I don't even know what to fucking do. And she lived about, you know, an hour and a half outside of the city. So it wasn't like she could really, you know, be very involved. And we started getting scared, and so she tried to call some emergency services. It didn't work, and then she called me and asked, should I just call the police? And I was like, well, I'm gonna go over to his house, I'm gonna give it one last try. She's like, yeah, but I feel like, I mean, and I'm like, girl, I don't know what to do, I'm not gonna tell you not to. And so I didn't tell her not to, and she did call the police. The police came. They kind of just got there right by the time that I got back to the house.
There's so little they can do in those kind of situations. We had to call the cops too, and if they'll just say it's a civil dispute, unless there's like an actual crime that they can see right then and
Well,
there.
well, it was okay. So they came in to like talk to him to see if he was doing all right because his
Oh
sister
boy.
said that, and he was like screaming at them and getting all crazy. And then
Oh my god.
I came in and tried to be like, oh, and his fucking stupid landlord lady was like, who called the cops? Blah blah blah. Was it you? And I'm like, no. And they're like, and then I was like, well, I mean, I didn't tell the sister not to, you know, like,
I
and
played no
so I
part in
was
this.
blamed. I was basically blamed,
Oh
and
god.
and he was like, I mean, he was saying shit that did not make any sense at all. He was so crazy at this point. He
Oh
seriously
yeah.
said, I swear to God, on his bed, when because he was like lying in his bed and like yelling at the cops and yelling at me and shit. And he was like, I don't know, everybody, why don't we just take a bunch of baby fetuses and put them in a cylinder and put them on a birthday cake? How about that? Like shit like that.
Oh,
Like I swear to God, he said some shit about like baby fetuses and a cylinder on a birthday cake, and it was like, what?
you can't make that shit up
Yeah,
unless you're on a lot of drugs.
it was really, really fucking crazy. And so, yeah, he did that, and
Mine would just talk about how everyone all around him was involved in a conspiracy. Like he took me on a walk through our neighborhood and like kept pointing out random cars that were parked there. It's like, oh yeah, that car's been following me all day, and that see that person? There's like a person behind that car. And I'm like, there's no person behind that car. Dude. There's no one there.
so eventually he got out of the fucking oh he the cops arrested him. He ended up going to the mental hospital for longer this time. I think like 2 weeks he was in this hospital, and you know, I did my best, blah blah blah. But oh, and his and the first time I took more care of him. The second time his sister literally dropped out of nursing school
Oh
to
no.
for a semester to look after him. He is such this is, if you didn't know that he was a self fucking sociopath type of antisocial personality disorder, this is how you would know. Um After his sister drops out of nursing school for a semester, and he you know, like starts to become relatively sane again and isn't, you know, babbling about nonsense and paranoid delusions. I mean, he wasn't really babble, but you know, after it became clear that he wasn't crazy anymore,
Mhm.
he left the situation mad at me and mad at his sister because she called the cops on him and he got arrested. He was not thankful, and oh, and he
They
was
never
like,
are.
and he was like, well, I wasn't actually going to kill myself, God. And it was like, oh, well, you could have fooled me, you know, like you certainly talked about it a lot.
It's like I didn't have the asterisks under you saying like this is sarcasm.
Yeah. No, I've known people who've had bipolar things that, you know, were like, oh my God, I can't believe I let that happen. I feel really bad for putting my family through that. Like I know people that does happen sometimes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
this guy, no, he was just so
I don't think it
lacking.
was just bipolar going on with this one. It sounds like
Oh yeah. I don't think it's just bipolar at all. So yeah, that's how much of a fucking asshole that guy is. Let's look at the Antifa.
the thing that we was.
Yeah. Now on to the main event.
Mhm. Hope you
So
enjoyed the
where
prequel.
where is this article? And oh, I sent it to you on Twitter. That's how I can.
You did.
And you found another one.
I did. We
Mm,
did such thorough research before we started talking about gay sociopaths.
yeah. Okay, here we go. Um, this poor girl. I feel bad for her. I mean,
Yeah. Are you looking at the first article?
yeah, I'm gonna look at the first one first. So,
Is she is there a way for you to show on the stream
yep.
like what we're looking at? Okay, awesome.
And everyone just saw my crazy desktop because I'm actually really bad at being organized because I work too hard on actually thinking and researching and stuff. So, what it's like to betray Antifa to the cops and get caught. The reporter, such a
Spoiler, it sucks.
the reporter is obviously an Antifa sympathizer. I just want to point that out before we go into this
Yeah.
because it
This
really
is not
pisses.
by in the comments about how like this person has a history of writing like pro anarcho syndicalist communistic craziness.
Oh God, what a cunt. So,
Hmm.
Tan became an informant for the Portland police, then was completely ostracized by a community. By Kate Shepard. Let's go, fucking Kate Shepard. Let's go. Oh, no, no,
Hmm.
absolutely nobody should tweet at her. Nobody should tweet at her in any sort of
No,
disapproving manner or
no,
anything like that. No.
do not feed these people. They live off of it.
So, by Katie Shepard. In 24 hours, Tan lost every friend made during 11 months of protesting on Portland's streets. An exuberant 20-year-old with short, dyed blue hair, Tan, whose legal name is June Davies, by the
She,
way.
she also identifies as Gia in the other article. Like I think this girl has like I don't she has more names than social justice warriors have genders. There's just and she's
Huh.
non-binary, by the way.
Of
So
course she is, yes. Who
mhm.
identifies as gender non-binary. Um, so this is gender non-binary, by the way. It's usually a chick with dyed hair. Um,
But she
so
doesn't wear the glasses. I thought that was part of the uniform.
yeah. Well, and half of her head isn't shaved too, like
True.
like part of the side or whatever. So
Maybe that's why they stopped being friends with her because she didn't wear the uniform.
yeah, I think that's when they start. That's when they started to suspect and start going through her fucking text messages because they were like,
You
"Wait,
don't
something's
dress like
wrong."
us.
So, an exuberant 20-year-old with short, dyed blue hair, Tan, whose legal name was June Davies who identifies as gender non-binary, felt a magnetic pull to the left-wing protests in Portland that followed Donald Trump's election. 2 days after the 2016 election, Tan, a manager at Baja Fresh in Lake Oswego.
Oh, I missed that. But
Yeah,
oh my god! So
he is
basically,
doxing the shit out of her.
God, I don't know what's worse, the image of a non-binary burrito manager like becoming a Antifa protester, or the fact that this article is just a hit piece.
Yeah, it's not. It's the thing is, she thinks she's being clever and like not being a total hit piece, um, in the way that she like talks about the interview. But it's like,
It's not
no,
an interview; it's an expose.
yeah. So it wasn't Tan's. Okay, when she marched in head-to-toe black uniform of anti-fascist protesters, better known as Antifa. Wait. What's this going to link to? I just want to know. Is it going to be that like infomercial video that I?
Wait, which the poached get hired?
Wait, that's random. Uh,
Wait,
okay,
let's
so
see what.
it was Tan's first protest. When I saw that Trump just got elected, Tan recalls, I was saying this is going to be a police state. There's going to be violence against people of color. There are going to be mass deportations. I thought that that was already happening, but
I also thought there was going to be a hellmouth that opened up under every single major city, and
mhm,
yeah, just
yeah.
it, I actually, I will disclosure like I used to be much more liberal, not even that long ago. Like I really did swallow the blue pill at one point. I was never non-binary or anything like that, but I believed a lot of these news sources about all of this leading up, and then I think it was when Antifa started getting crazy that I was like, and no one was talking about it. That's when I first started to suspect, wait a minute, are they fucking with me? And then I was like, oh yeah, oh yes, they are fucking with
And
me.
you found YouTube and
I
everything
just thought,
changed. See, I
oh.
I always wanted to believe that the left, the Democrats were, like I kind of did have the blue pill mentality. It's where it was like, no matter how bad the Democrats got, the Republicans were always worse, and conservatives were always the bad people. Um, and it's because I never fairly examined the economic arguments and really like learned about them. Um, and that's a major problem with a lot of people. Like we get sold on this kind of like, oh, every sort of socialist principle could work in the United States because it's sort of worked in other places sometimes. Like they have universal healthcare in Japan and blah blah blah, and it could always work. It totally could work. And we hear these things, and so it's easy to want to believe in that. but turns out that even that, like the stuff that we wanted to believe in, isn't even really true. And we actually do have to be viable competition with East Asian money interests as an actual nation itself. And things are complicated, and the Democratic Party fucking bankrupt its fucking self during the Obama presidency, and
It's
like everything
it's really
fell apart.
depressing when you realize that, I don't think I could ever be a Republican per se. I mean, as some people say, not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I describe myself as politically agnostic because I feel really disillusioned at this point about,
Hmm.
I just don't know anymore. It just seems like we're so removed from any possibility of actual change, and there are so many entrenched interests that really all I had to do was take a picture of a ceramic cat that I got from the Renaissance Fair and start bitching on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I want there to be an internet party. I heard that. I thought I heard somebody talking about one, but I haven't really heard much about it since. Like one person maybe kind of mentioned it, and I think it'd be cool if we.
Oh, yes, that was on NPR in Argentina. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it in Spanish, but basically it was like but it was some sort of like, let's just call it the internet party. But yes, it was a party where like the elected member of the Argentinian government, the one who got elected for this party, like they basically would make all the decisions according to the equivalent of a Twitter poll from their party members.
Hmm.
Um, it did not go over extremely well. I mean, I think they got like one. I think they got
Yeah,
like
we got to
one.
refine how we're gonna do that one.
Yeah, I think they got like one member into government, but then there were like all these confidentiality concerns, and it's like, well, how do you know that your party members aren't? How do you know they're real? Yeah, it's gonna be a while before something like
Yeah.
that actually
Okay.
happens.
Let's move on. Um,
Yes.
So Tan soon started working in the medic tents at Portland protests, bandaging cuts, washing pepper sprays from protesters' eyes, and treating minor burns from fireworks thrown at police. I don't know what's so funny to me about that. Like at first I
I
was like, I at first I had to read that again to make sure that they weren't saying that the police were throwing fireworks at the at the people.
Yeah, I like how the author thinks that that's like a completely normal thing. Like there's like literally no like I read that and I was like, oh, I don't know. I interpreted that as like, okay, maybe that's when Tan realized that there was something wrong with these people, hence why she decided to do this. It's like you're throwing fireworks at the police. Huh.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah,
um,
that's just surreal. I don't think
Tan also became a police informant. In June, Tan met Portland Police Sergeant Jeff Nia at a small protest. Nia frequently patrols protests. They started chanting, and Nia gave Tan his business card. It took only a day for Tan to become an informant. Well, maybe she wasn't really an informant, but rather somebody that was texting a police officer due to wanting safety, because
yeah,
that's really what.
she wanted to know what, like, if her friends got arrested or something. And I think later on in the article it talks about how like she felt like she could trust him because there aren't that many Asian police officers.
Well, yeah, let's just keep reading because I think you said you have another article and I haven't actually read
Oh,
that one. So
okay, I'll follow
let's
your
try to
lead.
go. Yeah, okay. So it took only a day for Tan to become an informant. Tan texted Nia and began sharing details of Antifa's marching routes during protests. And
That
I think that
whore.
yeah, no, I think that that would be something that would piss them off because they like to try to surprise things so they can do maximum damage. For
And also
Tan,
because they're very easily thwarted.
Yeah. For Tan, it made sense to work with police to make sure Antifa medics weren't arrested, swept up in kettles, or moved by officers. At the same time, Tan never told other protesters about the conversations with Nia. On October 18th, Tan's double identity was exposed. Come
She's a
on,
double
you cunt.
she's a double agent. Her
Well,
treachery was
she is
exposed.
non-binary. I
Hmm.
mean, maybe she's gender fluid. I don't fucking
Well,
know.
no, maybe she's loyalty fluid, okay? Like if there are different genders, then how can you hold her to a binary like to a political binary? You're either with us or against us? God, so intolerant.
Hmm. One of Tan's friends, one of Tan's friends found 4 months of texts between Tan and the cops. You don't just find them. You mean when looking on
She
the fucking
snooped.
phone?
Yeah, how did she
Yeah.
find that? Did she leave them like out? Like, oh, look, I'm sorry, I spilled my text messages. Can you help me clean them up?
Yeah. Yeah. So the friend took screenshots which were plastered across Facebook alongside warnings to stay away from the police informant. It became, within the Antifa community in Portland, a scandal. And while the contents of the text messages didn't reveal any closely held secrets of Antifa, the act of reaching out to police was viewed by many as traitorous to the cause. Tan watched one-time leftist comrades close ranks. Rose City Antifa called Tan an infiltrator. No one would return Tan's calls or texts. Tan received death threats on social media and was frightened enough to stay home for weeks. While Tan endured criticism, many Antifa organizers claimed Tan's mental health made Tan vulnerable to manipulation by the police.
Isn't
And
that
in
ableist?
Yep, it totally is. And no, but these fuckers will always do that too. Like the second anybody, like they will talk about like how mental illness isn't a problem and blah blah blah, and unless they have like unless somebody even fucking breaks up with them and they'll be like, oh my god, did you know that James is like totally fucking schizophrenic and like takes all these meds and like fucking hell. I mean,
He,
it's like
he's a crazy person. I fucking hate crazy people. Oh, I mean, yeah. No,
yeah,
like any all of their values go out the window when they decide they don't like you.
well, and it's like you have to wonder about like they want people to like open up and like be honest about having a mental illness and blah blah. Is that just a con to get them to like have dirt on them and to have them to be easy to control so that they could potentially socially ostracize them if they
Wouldn't
step out of
surprise me.
line?
My sister was telling me about BAM by any means necessary.
Hmm.
Like, and they do that all the time. That's one of their, as far as I understand, it's one of the things that they do in order to, maintain loyalty.
Yeah.
They, oh wait, no, I'm sorry, that's not BAM. That's Scientologists that encourage you to tell all your secrets to get to unload, to lighten your soul or whatever, and then they use it as a way to keep you involved in the organization. Because if you leave, they'll reveal all your innermost darkest secrets.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's messed up. Uh, so while Tan endured criticism, many Antifa organizers claim Tan's mental health made Tan vulnerable to manipulation by the police, and implied Naya had Naya had flirted with Tan to entice the would-be informant to share information. Um, he totally was giving her dick pics and stuff. They saw it on the phone.
Oh, did they really?
No, no, I know
Oh God, I didn't read through. I didn't read through all the text messages because there's so freaking many. But yeah, that because that totally wouldn't like derail the entire investigation.
Oh,
Oh
it's
my
not
God.
supposed to do that. Probably.
Not
um,
sorry.
oh well. So while Tan endured criticism, many Antifa organizers claim Tan's mental health made Tan vulnerable to manipulation by the police, and implied Naya had flirted with Tan to entice the would-be informant to share information. Tan says those allegations are false and insulting. I mean, well, okay, at least
Yeah.
she talks a little bit. I knew what I was
Yes.
doing, Tan says, expressing some bitterness at fellow protesters. Okay, and that's the other fucking. I'm sure she expressed a lot more bitterness at fellow
Yeah.
protesters if you were
Yeah.
to actually show what she actually said.
We're getting like 2 or 3 quotes from her in the entire thing, and most of it just describes like as much personal information as they can pump into it about her.
Yeah. So it was probably naive of me to think that I could change people's mindsets. I saw the Portland police actually try. I never saw Antifa actually try. Uh-oh. See, that's like the most incriminating. Like that's going to make like that probably came after she told a whole long story about trying to, do
Explain her
something,
position
yeah,
and
and do
like, yeah,
something positive and like, you know, try to make it so that Antifa's demands might get met and the police would have less violent confrontation. And it never worked because Antifa just wanted violence.
well,
Like
yeah,
like
because
the violence was the means to like the
it's
end
not even the
point.
means; it's the goal.
Yeah,
Like
it's the goal.
I think, if I remember, like it sounded like she wanted, to work with the system, which even though she doesn't like it, she understands that like, we have like we can't just, it's. I don't think she saw it as a violent
Well,
revolution.
here's the thing. I don't okay, I think that um probably, to be charitable towards Antifa people, I believe that a probable majority of them legitimately are like communist idealist type people that just think that our government is fucked up and they believe that we live in a, genocidal white supremacist capitalist blah blah blah, and they think that it would be better if we had an anarchistic revolution and then installed a communist government in its place, and that's legitimately what they believe, right? But
Hmm.
but that is not what the leaders of Antifa, and yes, there are leaders. They are
Oh,
funded. There's very, there's probably
someone's
a
paying for all
chain.
the buses.
Yeah, there's probably a chain of command, and that's pretty obvious to all of the chapters. And probably not a whole lot of money because these people would work for very little money because a lot of them do believe in it, or at least partially believe in it. But the people who are up the chain of command, they don't actually want a fucking communist revolution. What they want is the Democrats back in power. That's what they want. And so what they're trying to do is just stir up as much civil unrest as possible so that the Trump presidency seems completely obnoxious and people vote for anyone else in 2020. That's what they want, I think. And so
I
like
can see that.
so they're just like, violence is the goal. Civil unrest is the goal. Um and so it was probably naive to think, okay, so Portland police actually try. I never saw Antifa actually try. Tan broke the first rule of activism and street life. Don't snitch. Is this your first rule? Sorry, let's look at how look at this girl. She would never snitch. That doesn't that girl, she ain't no snitchy. I've actually, what the funny thing? I literally had a girl who, looked like that. Some Antifa guy like said some shit to me like on like Facebook or some shit, trying to like sound like a tough guy and say some shit to me, and I was like, "Do you think I'm fucking scared of you? I would beat the shit out of you." I mean, no, and I didn't even say that, but I just said like, if you want to threaten me, like, we could meet up in person, and I don't think you would think it was a good idea,
Hmm. We'll
because
have a debate of fists.
and then a girl who looked almost exactly like this, she was like, um, "I'll meet up with you in person," and I was like, "Oh, shut the fuck up." I
Well, you're
didn't.
gonna you're gonna
I,
bludgeon me to death with your pronouns.
I was like, oh, shut up. He was the one who threatened me, not you. And she was like, yeah, but I want to meet up with you in person. And I was like, look, I don't fight girls. And don't give me any crap about being non binary. You and I both know that if I fought back, you'd be on the fucking phone with the police while you were in the ambulance. Okay? So shut
That's
the.
that's the whole goal. I think that's why Antifa has so many of their leaders are women, specifically for the fact that like they think that they have, well, they actually can in many
Yeah,
ways get
Violence
away.
Against Women Act. They fucking know that
Hmm.
they fucking can abuse their fucking female privileges.
It
So,
doesn't matter whether they're the aggressors, whether they're like physically attacking people with weapons, like
yeah,
they are going to milk that shit for every bit they can.
yeah, they need to change it. It's ridiculous. So yeah, and then these fucking cunts will take advantage of it. And like, uh, this girl said, I was like, no, I don't fight girls, obviously, and you don't give me any crap about being non-binary. You know that if I fought back, I would go to prison because Violence Against Women Act. And then she was like, you're transphobic. Don't make fun of non-binary people. And I was like, okay, this is just pathetic. And I was like, look, I would fight the dude and I could get a friend of mine to show up to record it on video so that nobody tries to say it went down another way. And she was like, I'm not going to let you record it on video. I'm
They're
not,
also afraid of
I
being
don't,
recorded.
she was like, I don't do snitching. And it was like, I'm not trying to snitch with the video. I'm worried that if I actually got in a fight with your stupid fucking friend and I beat his ass, I was like, if I got in a fight with with your friend, and I won, which by the way, I would, um, I wouldn't want you guys to try to fucking get me arrested and say that I just beat him up. Because Antifa people, when they lose a fight, they will try to get the police to arrest someone. We've seen it
which
on
is hilarious.
video.
Which is hilarious considering that they're always saying like, fuck the police, fry them up like bacon. But what's the first thing they do whenever like one of them gets hurt or something like that? Where call the cops? Call the cops.
Probably. I mean, I don't know if they
Hypocritical.
always do that. I don't know if they always do that. But yeah,
I have
so
seen so many videos where they do that. It's like all over the place. Like they're just complete morons when it comes to that. I don't feel even a
yeah.
little bit sorry.
So it was a girl that looked kind of like this, being like, I won't let you film it. I ain't no snitch. And it's like, look at you. You were the snitch in elementary school. You were the fucking girl that
Hall
like,
monitor.
yeah, like fuck you. You fucking little authoritarian cunt. Like you would not be doing this if Hillary Clinton. It's like these people will be like, Hillary Clinton is a war criminal and I hate her, but blah blah blah. But Trump is a fascist, despite the fact that we really don't have any real reason to
uh,
think that. We just heard
I'm
some rumors. It's like if
I'm
Hillary
so,
Clinton is a
so tired
fucking
of that
war
argument.
criminal, like shut. Like why is Trump worse? Why like how can you sit around saying Hillary Clinton is a war criminal, but Trump is worse? Like what does that? you know?
That and the whole Trump is Hitler thing. Like, I
Yeah.
don't I don't like Trump. I think he is a feckless moron who doesn't really act the part, and I'm not convinced that he's a good leader.
I
That
don't think.
said,
Yeah, I don't.
though,
Yeah.
oh my god, I hate being put in the position where I get into arguments with my own husband about like how Trump like he'll spout something from the Washington Post or something about how Trump is like trying to like kill all the brown people or something like that. And like, I'll be like, I don't know if I believe that. He's like, why are you defending him? I'm like, I don't want to defend him, but I think that that's stupid.
Hmm.
But I don't. Oh my god! It's like when it just
It's like,
such.
well, it's like you know what you should say? You should say you're not say I'm not defending Trump. I'm defending the truth. I'm defending objective
Ooh,
reality.
I like that.
Yeah,
Hashtag.
because hashtag I'm not defending Trump. I'm defending objective reality.
Yes. Taste the might of my objective truth.
So Tan broke the first rule of activism in street life, which you would obviously know all about. Little Miss Hallway Monitor, don't snitch. Tan talked with WW about what it's like to be completely ostracized by a community. WW, why did you join anti-fascist protesters? Tan, election night happened, and then that next night, protesters started going out. They claimed the highway. I saw it on the news and thought that's pretty intense. I went out the second night, November 9th, by myself. There were so many people there. I think they said 5,000 people were there, but it felt like so many more. It was probably less, actually.
Mm-hmm.
5,000 is actually kind of a lot.
I'm
Um,
sure that would have actually made it on the news.
yeah, well, I mean, they were protesting like everywhere, so
Yeah, well, true.
I was exhilarated, and then the police showed up. I realized that people were willing to get hurt because this was something they never wanted to happen, and they were willing to risk their lives to have it end. I was there until tear gas was flowing. I knew the next day I was going to go back. Why did you start talking with the police? I wonder how she asked her that. Like, was she all like, why did you start talking with the police?
Mm.
Okay.
Or did she even bother to try to put on the report? Like, why did you talk to the police? As opposed to like, why?
Why did
Traitor!
you start talking to the police, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw what everybody else was doing, basically being enemies with the police, the Portland police, and I thought, this isn't working at all. I admired Sergeant Naya because he was another person like myself who was doing a job that isn't super common. There's not a lot of Asian cops. I admired him for it. But the thing is, the cops are so unapproachable. For whatever reason, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler doesn't get that if you show up with a bunch of riot cops at these events that you're going to expect people to get violent. They look like soldiers or weird robots only meant to follow orders because they don't really talk. Okay, girl, I think there's reasons for that.
Yes, it's the only reason that Antifa does these things is because the riot police are, dressed in an unapproachable manner. As yeah, because I'm sure that if you left them alone, if you left Antifa alone, everything would be fine. They just, they'd be planting trees in unclaimed lots and feeding the homeless, and the world would just be a wonderful place filled with
They
rainbows.
do occasionally feed the homeless. Now, granted, it's mostly each other, but they are
Yeah, well,
homeless.
yeah, well, but it doesn't count if it's recruiting. It's
They,
like,
yeah,
uh,
it's like the whole food not bombs shit.
yeah, no, my parents, their religion. I grew up Seventh Day Adventist, and they used to brag about, not my parents, the Adventists. They used to brag about how they had all these missionaries going to Africa, and how they had all these people that were, coming to their Bible studies. And then I found out years later, it's like, yeah, they came to the Bible studies because that's how they got the food and the medicine. You didn't get it if you didn't attend the meeting. So
Mm,
that's not, you can't claim the high ground on when you give someone something that they need in exchange for,
uh-huh,
it's you're self-serving. Don't try to be magnanimous about your motives.
uh-huh. So you knew Antifa was against talking to the cops. Why betray the rules? I watched my friends do May Day, and I thought that they were doing wasn't 100% acceptable. I think that that's a typo. I thought, no, no, that's just me reading poorly. I watched my friends do May Day, and I thought what they were doing wasn't 100% acceptable. They were just doing stuff to break stuff and wreck stuff. It's only certain people, hardcore anarchists, who have totally negative opinions towards the police and government. I'm more willing to try to find a way that's not always so aggressive. There is no peace between the police and protesters. I don't think there's ever going to be a peace, but I was trying to make it a little bit easier so that the police would ease up on their tactics and then also see Antifa ease up um, on their tactics as well.
So she was an
If
idealist.
if you if you thought you were going to doing if you thought you were doing a good thing, why keep it a secret from your fellow activists? I knew they had superstitions about the cops. That's funny. That's a funny word. Um,
Hmm.
I knew if they found out, it would end up exactly how it did. What did you think about the reaction you're talking to police evoked in Antifa? Let's play devil's advocate. Maybe I did deserve not to be a part of activism anymore because I did talk to police officers. But I thought I was doing something that could benefit everybody. I never had any thought that I was doing this just because I want to be chummy with the police. I was naive, which is hard to admit because it's really hard to admit when you're wrong about something. You say the allegations that Sergeant Naya took advantage of you because of your youth and mental health are simply false. This sounds like a fairy tale. They think I was taken advantage of for my disability, but he didn't even know. I had depression since I was a kid. I've had anxiety since I was in seventh grade. But I think those allegations victimize me. I'm not a victim. It sounds exactly like the slander that they've done over and over and over again. An accusation comes out of nowhere and picks up steam and takes everybody on this whirlwind around town. It makes everybody more paranoid and more anxious. I mean, activists are anxious, paranoid people. What was it like?
Truth, girl.
Yeah, that's true, and it's contagious. Um, what was it like for you to be exposed? It was awful. I woke up and half of my friends were just gone. Everybody was talking about me. I got threats. I got told that I had to leave the city. It wasn't exactly explicit, but it was implied that bad things would happen to me if I showed up at certain places. I didn't leave my house for like a month. I was afraid. The night that everything happened, and the next morning I was suicidal. I've had mental problems for a while, but I haven't had suicidal thoughts that strong since I was 16. How did your banishment change your views on Antifa? I
Just because of the
still,
language that this reporter is using, why did you betray your fellow activist? Banishment
yeah,
language at all. This is totally from Antifa's perspective.
yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, banishment is weird. Like, it should have, like, it, what would be a better word? How did, your
Like,
social alienation change your views
or,
on Antifa, is what
or
I
ex
probably would.
or excommunication or you know being cut off. Like there are so many. You watch like a Tim Pool video, and he talks to people on all sides of the spectrum, and you never get a sense to lead you or the people he's talking to. Not just to plug Tim Pool, but I mean, you know, like that's neutral language. There is nothing neutral in this at all. It's completely and it's hilarious too because honestly, these the interviewer and the interviewee are probably not even that dissimilar in their views, but you can totally tell that the reporter lady person just absolutely despises this girl
Yeah. Well,
person.
she got caught not being bad enough. And
Mm-hmm.
the loyalties are not to the teacher because the teacher is um, Trump. So they need a new teacher.
Mm-hmm.
they they need the authoritarian feminists back. So, how did your banishment change your views on Antifa? I still have the same views as them. I hate the government. I hate how our society is run. It's not that I don't have the same views as them. It's just that I'm not as aggressive. I'm an anarcho pacifist. I'm like a diplomat. And then, is Antifa a force for good? They like to think so. And honestly, I'm not sure. I would say they're more like more leaning toward the interests of themselves rather than the interests of the whole Portland community. I only see infighting and negativity and trying to tear people down that they don't like. What will you do now that you can't go back to the Portland protest scene? If I ever do activism again, maybe I'll go to Berkeley. I have been thinking about trying to go down there and see what the activism is like there, because that's where all the activism started, pretty much, or even Seattle. And Seattle is not that far away from here.
Why does she not think that all of these like literally like she's been blackballed, like none of these people are going to talk to her anywhere.
Yeah, well, because she's probably never been outside of Portland and she just doesn't understand. She doesn't understand. She doesn't understand the like ideological uniformity of people that are like this everywhere. I mean,
There's
she
a
doesn't.
world
She
beyond
obviously doesn't go
Portland.
on the internet. Like, she obviously doesn't like actually like look at YouTube, and she hasn't found the skeptic sphere. She doesn't understand that like she's in this little petri dish that everybody like. There's
There's no
Antifa is a little social experiment conducted by think tanks that, I mean, I know it had different roots, blah, 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 but Antifa in the current year is like, um,
it's
this,
the Cultural Revolution all over again.
no, it's fake though. It's
Yeah,
just trying to manipulate people in order to sway public opinion in a certain way about the Trump presidency, and she's been manipulated by it, and she didn't play the game in the exact right way, and that's it. That's all there is to it. There's no forgiveness. Like, she won't be forgiven. She
nope.
doesn't quite understand that. So let me what was I going to do? Let me look at my pay, Streamlabs. Make sure I didn't get a new Streamlab. And then we should look at that other,
Sure. At the other article, where they
yeah.
have they actually that one I when I read it was a bit more. It was an actual article, like it wasn't just a hit piece, and it actually has her text messages in it.
Okay. I want to see. Oh, wait, no. I need to pull up that article because you sent it to me. No, stop. Stop.
Gotta get that money,
I
money,
don't
money, money.
want people to, um,
See the man behind the curtain.
I don't want people to see my DMs.
That's yeah. That's I can especially
Because
considering
unlike
all
some
of
people, I don't stream my friends' DMs.
oh my, Prince, everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
Come on,
No,
submit to peer pressure.
there's no purpose to privacy. Anybody who has privacy is hiding something.
Coward. Oh, totally. Yeah, because like there's uh that drama.
So,
I just watched the Miss Misa video talking about how the internet isn't for debate, how YouTube is just about drama and like it's it sucks, but that's what it is, and we all like it, and so we should just get used to it.
oh
It
my
was
God,
it was
who's calling me? Hold on one second. I gotta mute myself. Talk to the audience for a second, okay?
hello audience. So yes, for those of you that are haven't been here the whole time, I'm Arcatsuke. This is Prince of Queens, and yes, we are two gay, skeptic-y people, kind of in and out of that. And we've been, well, actually, we spent the first half an hour or more talking about like what's like to live with attractive gay sociopaths. But yeah, now we're talking about the stated purpose of the video, which is this poor girl that got involved in Antifa and is she became an informant because it appears that she uh, naively believed that she was actually trying to change the world to be a better place, rightly or wrongly, like, and so she got involved with the police in order to basically, well, at first I believe she was checking just to make sure that some of her friends were okay, and then they started exchanging information about some of the more, should we say, incredulous, no, incredulous activities of Antifa, like arson and things that are harder to rationalize as being good if you have even a shred of morality, which and it's true that there are a lot of people that get involved in activism, and it is very much like a cult because you have a bunch of people with extreme views. They tend to isolate you from society. They tell you that everything that is different than what you're being told is either a lie or it is a force of objective evil. And so they just keep ratcheting it up. Like, not only are you trying to change society for the better, but you're also, in this case, fighting an actual war. But, well, Prince is on the phone. Let's take a look at some comments. I try to respond to comments. I've only been in 2 streams, so you guys are going to have to forgive me if I'm doing anything annoying. And thankfully, my cat is stuck. Oh, my God. I have a lot of cats, as you can as you can tell. I I love all animals, but I have a lot of shelter cats. And
All right.
yeah, oh, you're back. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So, okay. And there we go.
Did the money
Portland.
flow?
What?
Did the money flow into your account?
Huh?
Oh, I was just asking if someone donated to you. Sorry.
Did they? I don't
I
know.
don't.
Let's
I
take
don't
a
know.
look.
I thought you were checking that.
I don't think so.
Huh?
Probably not.
Oh well.
Streamlabs.com/Prince of Queens live streams is what you do. No, didn't. No. Okay. Oh
All
my
right.
God. Oh, Jesus. Oh no. Okay. Uh, Portland activist ostracized, police criticized after cooperation, communication exposed. June Davies' first known message to the Portland police sergeant's cell phone seemed harmless enough. Did police arrest a friend and fellow activist? Davies wanted to know at a demonstration during the city's Fleet Week. No arrest, Sergeant Naya texted back June 10th. Have a safe protest and evening. Over the next 4 month, Davies, a budding Portland activist, quietly exchanged hundreds of texts with Nia amid a groundswell of protest activity throughout the summer and fall. Then, in October, Davies' activist peers learned of the private exchanges. Alarmed, they promptly published online copies of the communications Davies had shared with them. Read the text messages below. Should we just skip to the text messages?
Probably. I think we kind of get the idea of
Oh,
what's going.
sweet. Okay. Well, there's a
There,
lot of them.
yeah, there are so many. I read about, I want to say 20 or so of them, and after a while, I was
Do we
like,
ever get to
okay,
see the cop?
I don't think so. I mean, I suppose we could look up,
Why
but I
can't
mean,
I?
the police are usually pretty not super enthusiastic about posting pictures of
Yeah.
their officers, particularly if this
Why
guy was
can't I
like
scroll through the fucking?
what's going on?
Every time I click up, it doesn't give me the link. Could you? Are you on a computer?
I am.
Could you maybe screen share it?
I don't know how to do that.
It's easy. So you just do the click on. There's a green button on the left of the Google Hangout window.
Oh, I'm actually not hanging out on.
Oh,
I'm
okay. Never mind. Never mind.
yeah.
Let's see. I can probably do it in a different browser. Let me just
I mean, does it work on Android? That's what I've been using.
No, I can try. I can try to do this. Don't worry. Sorry, audience. Thanks for being here, by the way.
Love you. How many people are watching? I can't see on the
There's
computer.
like 10 or 11, probably.
We love you, 10 or 11 people.
Meow.
Oh
Meow.
my god, my cat, she's so freaking codependent. A lot of cats, but this one, anytime I'm in the other room, she just will not stop. Although it's funny, so I forget who someone was it you
Why?
Ilk who saying like they thought that it was just background music, and I just some really clever promo that I was doing, but no, it's
Here
just
we
my
go.
crazy cat.
I think that this is them. I think it's them. Okay.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Come on. Don't be a dick.
Our audience is talking about something to do with the mafia.
What the fuck is going on? Why did it freeze? Okay, I had to stop that.
Ooh, a bob
Um,
kitten.
a bob kitten, cute. Um,
I don't have any
bobcats.
breeds, just mixes. Yeah, they just passed a law in California that all the pet stores can only sell shelter cats. I think shelter animals, period. Which is great news because it means the puppy mills and the kitten mills are gonna hopefully go out of business. That shit's just
Hmm.
terrible.
Jesus fucking Christ! This fucking it's really not a very good, well loading page.
Mm. Is it a bad website?
Um, it's yeah, it must be.
Well, maybe we should just like read instead the text messages like aloud.
I'm
Maybe
trying.
that
I
might
can't
be.
even get them to load.
Well, let me see if I can get mine to load.
Oh, I've run out of application memory. Hold on, I have to delete something.
Okay.
Well, that's fine.
How old is your
Tonight's
computer?
video, it's old. Tonight's video is something that I'm going to delete anyway. So, uh,
Oh, it is.
yeah, because I need to add something to the beginning.
Oh, you don't mean this video. You mean the video that you were working on.
Yeah, I made a
Okay.
video for today, and then I decided against uploading it because of some things, and I want to just add a part, a part to it.
Okay.
Um,
I was like, why would you bother making this stream if we're just gonna delete it afterwards?
well, I do tend to. Oh wait, I could. Oh, fuck off. This is so annoying. I iMovie paused. If I quit you, then I can empty my trash. And then I will have application memory, at least for a moment. There we go. And I can also, well, no. Mm.
Do you want me to read some of the text messages while you're doing that?
Let me just, I want to pull it up on the screen so that,
It is better.
okay, I think this is sort of working now. I think it likes to think it's working. Come on.
Ken of Darkness says your computer is the original Cold War computer. Oh no, I'm sorry. He's asking if it's the original Cold War computer.
I don't even know what a Cold War computer is.
They're talking about those. You remember, God, what was that Matthew Broderick movie where he was a hacker or something? Like those giant beige boxes that are like the size of rooms. Like those were like the really advanced stuff. You remember Commodore 64s?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he might be talking about something like that. Those just
Okay.
giant.
This is it. Gallery.
I have to figure. I really should get better at using my computer because I actually have a fairly new one. But the last time I tried to stream with you and the Liberal Hammer,
Got it.
like I was muted for like 10 years on it.
Yeah. Okay. I can share now.
Awesome.
Sorry, guys. A lot of the audience left.
Oh, did they?
Well, there's 6 viewers. It's fine.
Oh,
Oh my God. No.
thank you, loyal six
Okay.
people. But
So, thanks for your help. You bet. That's a different precinct, so not where I work. By the way, can I get your name so that I can add it to my contacts? Sorry, I didn't catch it the other day. Sorry and thanks. I'm Gia. Legal name June Davies.
hmm
Thank you, Gia. I just talked to the sergeant out there. No arrest. They are going to trust everyone. Stay safe on the sidewalk and let you march. Have a safe protest and evening. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Gia, sorry, I missed your call yesterday. I have Sunday and Monday and Tuesday off and don't check my phone um that often. When I get back to work Wednesday, I'll let the arson investigators know and see how they want to handle your information. No worries. Didn't really know your schedule, so I just called as soon as I got the info. Would you like the footage to show them or should I wait? Why don't you wait? That the more people who see it, get the more compilations there are. I'll get a hold of you Wednesday if that's okay. Okay, sounds good. Um, Good morning, Gia. I spoke with the arson investigation unit, and one of them will be reaching out to you. I gave them your cell phone number as you earlier said it was all right. Have a good day, and thank you for reaching out to us. I called
Mary
Detective.
Hildreth is saying that you can actually see the cop's LinkedIn profile, and he's apparently not very bad looking.
Oh,
She tried to post it in the live chat, but it's not letting her.
oh, yeah. You can't do the email addresses. That's interesting. So I called Detective Lewis, but they didn't pick up. Hi, Gia. Didn't want to send a message early. Thanks for calling him. They will hopefully get back to you. The other option that you have is to wait until the defense attorney is assigned to your friend and provide the video to them. Okay, how do you know how long that will take? I just want to get this evidence to them because I don't want her to be wrongly accused and then convicted. I'm not sure of the timeline. Feel free to try calling the detective back. A defense attorney will be assigned after she goes to court and on the charges. Okay. Do you know when she goes to court? I don't, but you can go to the Mahone County website and DA website and put her name in and call them. Sorry, I don't have more info. Okay. The, you're doing a lot by just telling me this. I know you're busy. Hey, Naya, are you busy? What's up? Not at this moment. No. What's up? Let me call. Okay. Sorry for bothering you again on the JF, but now have reports that both Brady and Emil have been taken into custody, arrested. Can you contact the supervisor on the ground for me, and let me know what's up? I need to calm down some folks on Facebook if they aren't taken into custody. I was told a few minutes ago that they were arrested. Apparently this morning, Brady pepper sprayed Joey Gibson at Joey Gibson. That's Patriot Prayer, dude.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
Oh, I remember him. The tall. Is he, I think he
he's
also half Asian?
yeah, he's like half Japanese or something.
He's really
Um,
tall.
huh. So I was told I was just told a few minutes ago they were arrested. Apparently this morning Brady pepper sprayed Joey Gibson at the Pride Parade. Oh wait, that's probably the Patriot Prayer. That's probably what they meant. Evil tried to
hmm
unarrest Brady, and he was arrested. Also, unarrest? How do you unarrest someone? I'm sorry, I didn't have this info when you called earlier. I only found out a bit ago. I wasn't sure if you or there others were there when it happened. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Thank you, Naya. I will confirm their arrest. I think they pepper sprayed him yesterday, but I'm not sure. Do you have the information on who called them in? Just so I know. Joey confirmed it with me that he didn't call it. From what I was told, the officers either saw it themselves or were told and chose to wait due to the parade going on. Brady showed up somewhere. Well, maybe it is Pride. Huh? Brady
Could be.
showed up somewhere where the officers were and arrested him. It's too bad Brady had to use pepper spray. Okay, I agree that it's unfortunate. Joey wasn't there today, though. He confirmed with me on that. It must have been yesterday. Hmm. Maybe it was a preacher. Sorry, I'm getting info secondhand, it seems. But someone was pepper sprayed at Broadway and Burnside this morning. Yeah, I saw that a preacher got pepper sprayed. Must have been him. It was today. I was told it was today, but I can read the reports Wednesday when I get to work and find out for sure. I
Sounds
saw
like
that.
she's giving most of the information at this point, honestly. But we don't know how many of the other text messages there are.
Man, I don't know what's. Um, I don't know why she's doing this exactly. Like,
She doesn't sound like she. I mean, I hate to sound like I'm agreeing with the crazy person, but it doesn't sound like she's entirely. I won't say she's not all there,
uh-huh.
but I don't know. She seems to be really unclear about what her position in this all is.
And like why she, yeah, why she's even texting him at all.
Mm-hmm. Because I don't see him taking advantage of her exactly. She seems to be pretty. I mean, look. I guess she's interested in what's going on with her friends. Um, yeah, I don't know. This is
Well,
weird.
okay, let's think logically about what's going through her head. I bet she kind of knows that her friends are really vague about what happened, and she's
Hmm.
sort of trying to figure it out. And so she's just trying to like beat around the bush with this detective dude.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So does she think that she's going to get information from him? Like,
Maybe.
so she trying to be like a triple agent? I guess I don't
Yeah.
think she. If she is, she's really bad at it.
Oh yeah, I think she's absolutely bad at it. I saw that Joey got attacked, pepper sprayed yesterday, and that a preacher got pepper sprayed today. So I think that's what happened. Anyways, thank you so much, Naya. I appreciate it a lot. Now I have to help quell the firestorm on Facebook. Will he be held overnight or released? Ah, okay. Joey was involved. Yes, Joey was involved from what I was told. The officers either saw it themselves or were told and chose to wait due to the parade going on. Brady showed up somewhere where the officers were and arrested him. It's too bad Brady had to use pepper spray. Wait,
I
this,
think your freeze. I think your screen froze.
yeah, it's weird. This
Oh
is,
wait, there it is. Yeah,
this is,
I'm getting the sense that she really I don't know, like is she trying to give yeah, I don't know. Like I really think she's trying to be a triple agent or something, like maybe
oh,
but hmm?
um, so got it a lot. Thanks. There's a lot of misinformation going on. Good to know that Joey was telling me the truth that he didn't call Brady in. That's a big brownie point for him. I've been communicating with him, but I didn't truly believe much of what he was saying until now. Thank you again, Naya. I'll talk to you Wednesday. See, yeah, I was right. She thought that she was starting to notice that her friends were shady, and she's sort of trying to figure out what happened to with the police, but she wasn't informing him of anything. She was mostly trying to figure out for herself.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, she's trying to get information from the police dude about like so are my friends crazy? Are you guys evil or are they the problem here?
Uh,
She would have been better off just never getting involved in any of this. But, then we wouldn't have anything to talk about.
okay, let's move down a bit. Sorry, I was just talking to the supervisor. He's a juvenile. He will be released on taken to GHG since it was a person crime he did. Most likely it will be home later tonight either way. And yes, feel free to reach out Wednesday if I can help answer more questions for people. JDH, juvenile detention. Yes, juvenile detention. And I'm being told and seeing people are saying Brady was arrested for taking some stickers. Absolutely not why. It was the pepper spray. Thanks for letting people know. Yeah, that's what I just saw too on Facebook. I don't know. That's kind of a lame excuse to be completely honest, but you have a feeling that they'll be released tonight because of school tomorrow? Oh, I'm pretty sure. It's really hard to get someone into juvenile for a misdemeanor crime. Other problem is we can't get a hold of his mom to possibly release him. Please try and let people know we are not that lame to arrest Brady over stickers. Haha, okay. That's such a lame excuse. Do you need to get a hold of her? I might have a way to do so. Let the officers out there right now know you can if they need to. Right now, no. Okay, I just want to stop for a second. I feel like that other cunt who wrote the article, she very purposefully didn't include because like why wouldn't you want if you were just trying to get views for your paper, you would put
Hmm.
the texts and you would link them.
Totally.
She very deliberately didn't because she didn't want people to realize how completely innocuous this was.
Yeah, these I was going to say this is extremely tedious communication, and most of it I can't even. It sounds like the officer already knew the people that she was talking about, and
The girl was just trying to help. She was trying to help her
mhm.
friends. She wasn't trying to fucking help the cops. She was trying to help her fucking friends.
And she was a street medic, so I mean, in the same way that like reporters sometimes have to have a relationship with both sides in order to make sure that they get accurate information. Since the medics I've noticed in a lot of these things are kind of, I won't say neutral, but they're sort of held apart because they're not really there to make things worse. They're there to to make things better.
Hmm.
And they even said in the first article like how she wanted to make sure that the medics weren't getting taken with all the other rabble rousers. So maybe these people she's talking about are other medics.
Hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'm sure people in my group have let her know as well. Okay, real quick. The detective assigned to Miss Pooh's case hasn't gotten back to me. Should I contact them again? How about I send them an email? Sure, that would work great. Here's the video evidence.
Okay, now we're
The name
starting to get. Is she trying to exonerate this person?
The name of the individual who took the footage is blank, who works on that blog and has seen Miss Poos there before. I wanted to gather the footage for him to help the case, so that's why I reached out to him, but it is honestly uh his evidence that will make or break the case. Okay, thanks. You're welcome. Hey, Naya, do you have a second to text or call? Yes, you can call. Just checking you got. So, okay, I think she's trying to help her friends because she believes her actual friends are good, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she
But
wants to exonerate people. What she doesn't understand is that um the bad Antifa people who are, the sort of the leaders and the people who are the true believers that will do anything the leaders say and blah 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 blah, they're gonna get mad that she's
she's
talking to the
talking at
cops
all.
because it's going to narrow down suspects, and the person who did do it is probably, maybe it's not her specific friend that she actually knows personally all that well, but it's another one of their, it's connected to them. It's
But part of the whole black bloc strategy is
yeah.
like to have as many red herrings, as many people dressed identically to make it as difficult as possible to narrow down who's actually doing what.
Yeah,
So
and they
yeah,
don't give a flying fuck about the collateral damage of who ends up getting caught and who gets prosecuted. That's
no,
totally
human
fine.
shields.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, hopefully it won't be me. And actually, it's not even like in terms of the leaders; they're just using them. So, yeah. Do you want to actually finish reading this, or have we actually?
I think we've learned everything that we really need to learn about this myself. Like,
Yeah,
are
because
we?
it just kind of goes. It's probably
Yeah. So it just seems like she got railroaded by these people because she went into this with good intentions, and as she said, she was naive. She did not realize what she was signing on for. And yeah, because this, I don't see any evidence here that she was giving any information that was going to bring down Antifa or any. They seem to know everything already. She's mostly just checking in to see what's going on with the people that she knows.
yeah,
And she thought that I don't know, I guess she thought that maybe like her concern for her friends would, exonerate her, but they're like, no, you're a snitch. Now we're going to
yeah,
stitch you.
yeah. Because I mean, Antifa doesn't give a fuck about her friends, ultimately.
Nope, about any of them, or really anything other than just more bodies with masks and random destruction and making everything look.
They care about keeping the communist dream alive in the eyes of the true believers, long enough to cause civil unrest to put the Democrats back in power.
Which is just dumb. I don't understand it. So this is one of the areas where you know more than I do, because to be honest, like I just voted for a long time, like the way I was raised to vote. I grew up Democrat, and I never,
Yeah,
you know,
me too.
I don't get it though, because on the one hand, you hear about how all liberals are commies, and that's definitely more true in like the university settings, but those people are usually mad at the Democrats for being corporatist and just as bad a part of capitalism as the
Yeah.
Republicans. So, if do you think that Antifa is connected to the Democratic Party
Yeah.
directly?
Yeah.
Well then, okay. Well then, is there the whole thing about communism? Because the Democratic Party does not want communism. They want
No,
political
they don't.
donations en
No, they don't.
masse.
Yeah, they don't.
So
No,
are they
they
just using their
no.
naivete?
Communism is just the religion that the Democrats use to sort of get their way.
Oh, okay, I see. Like it's like kind of like the end goal that like we're always striving for, but we'll never get to.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Republican, like every man is an island, like guns and wealth and like Okay,
Well, I think Republicans, well, it depends. I mean, there was sort of the old guard religious right where it was just sort of like, you know,
true. And then the
like,
Rockefellers before them.
yeah, and there was some very blatant instances of, very big preachers just sort of blatantly telling their their followers that George Bush was like on a mission from God and shit like that. Like it
Hmm.
was there was a movie called Bible Camp where they're indoctrinating children to believe that like basically that I think it's what's the divine right of kings. Did you remember learning about that in history class?
I know about the divine right of kings. I didn't know that anyone tried to connect it to the Republican Party. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
like the divine right of kings. Wait, I might have gotten this confused, but the divine right of kings, where it's basically like the king can do no wrong because he's the godly ruler of
Um,
everybody.
kind of. As I understand it, like basically, at least with most monarchies, you have to have a reason for them to be in charge, and usually it's because they were appointed by God or gods, and that's where their authority comes from.
Uh-huh.
Whether or not they have absolute power, that kind of depends. Like Egyptians definitely had, but they believed that the pharaoh was an actual god. European monarchies were much more about, like God is where the reason that we are able to sit here in these castles and tell you what to do is because God put us in charge.
Uh-huh.
Although I think the French absolute monarchies definitely had this idea that you could basically do no wrong. But I think
Yeah.
it's more.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Close enough. It was it
yeah.
was they did that same kind of thing
Oh
with
yeah.
George W. Bush, and they were like saying, like they would hold like a cardboard cutout of him, and everybody would cry, and like
Oh my god. I should
yeah,
watch
and this
this.
was like well into the Iraq War and shit, that
I remember.
so yeah, like they were pretty blatant about their religions being connected to the Republican Party. And it's supposed to be illegal to do that. Like you're not supposed to do that, like as a
Church and state and
congregation.
all that.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
but
political donations explicitly. Yeah,
yeah, but they do it all the fucking time. Like,
yeah. I
I
think
mean,
Bill Maher
maybe
talks about tax the churches because if you're using your tax-free donations for politics, then you really aren't, because you're not supposed to be able to be a religious tax-free exempt organization if you have an explicitly political goal.
yeah. So, uh, that whole thing was weird, but the left uses uh basically uh they use they've used communism, I mean, for as sort of their framework, and I think that the thing is this. I think that they they have long appealed by getting votes, at least since the Clinton administration,
Hmm.
1992. Clinton, I think, realized that um, it was a good idea to sort of stick up for he had the whole, like, he played the saxophone. He's like, I'm down with the black people.
Hmm.
And
I'm from
also
Alabama.
he also was big on being pro LGBT rights and trying to talk about people living with AIDS. And
Which
I
was
remember,
new at the time.
yeah, because the Republicans had not been so good to the gay
Yeah,
community.
yeah. Reagan didn't do us any favors by. basically ignoring the epidemic and not condemning things that like saying that AIDS was gay cancer or something like that.
Yeah. So, what uh Bill Clinton, you know, started doing this thing where he started sticking up for the minorities, and then you take that mentality. So, when people are using the combined weight of all of the different minorities to get votes and win elections, and you start trying to think about how to best implement that. Communism is the full extent of that mentality.
Hmm.
So every time
People
dem-
rise up.
every time people start trying to get votes by way of appealing to minorities and people that are disadvantaged or disabled or something, every time that happens, you're going to end up, uh, if you want to give money to people to facilitate thought around that process, either academic thought or media thought, you're going to end up giving money to at least a few people that are fucking full-blown communists, even if you don't think that they are. And that's just sort of what happens. So I wouldn't say that the Democrats are all communists, though some of them probably are. Like there's probably a lot of closet communists within the full-blown actual corporate Democratic Party, and that's the really weird part. But
What kind of a mind fuck do you have to give yourself to be part of essentially a corporation and think you're doing it what so that you're a sleeper agent for the truth or something?
yeah, well, that's what they do. That's what these people think. I mean, these people are fucking messed up in the head. Like, you can watch that Sargon's video that he just put up today with the CN. It was a CNN interview with the professor that said all he wants for Christmas is white
Oh, yeah,
genocide.
I did watch that actually. Yes, like that. I mean, you can. I don't want to say you can excuse, but it's way easier to believe that a university professor or employee could be that deluded because that's basically all American universities have become, especially if you aren't in STEM, is just indoctrination studies.
Yeah.
Like I don't, I'm always very cynical though about politicians of either side of the aisle simply because like I mean unless you're like just got into office, I would imagine that like there's a certain amount of
Well,
cynicism which they themselves have to have about their own profession.
some of them, but there's definitely some who probably really are actual communist true believers, because this communism stuff has been around for a really, really long time, and they've been undercover about it, and they are good at indoctrinating people with very subtle, kind of like rhetoric, and um, it's like they've refined their, it did come like the Frankfurt School of trying to convince a society to want to be communists, like instead of having a communist revolution, you quietly convince the society that they would think that communism is a good idea by proliferating certain messages in academia and media slowly over time. And you slowly brainwash the population into just wanting communism. And that's basically the Frankfurt School and how it works. It's like cultural Marxism or social Marxism. And if you understand it, it does make sense. Like that is what
It's a
they've
it's a
done.
viral revolution instead of
Yeah.
attempting to overthrow the instead of proletariat rise up. It's like they'll just poison the children until and sow the seeds of destruction until they grow and infect more people, and then yeah, I guess that explains this current generation of people that I mean, I never ever thought that I would be in a position where I would see people that were younger than me who actually wanted to censor everyone and like thought that free speech was somehow a bad thing.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I did not at all. And I didn't, I mean, dude, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I haven't told you this. I I ended up getting booted out of a I shouldn't talk I don't know if I should talk about this on air. Um, you know what? I'm not going to talk about this on air because I wanted to end the stream anyway, but I want to tell you about this in private. Yeah, it's
Juicy.
absolutely ridiculous. That and by the way, it's when I say booted out of something, it has nothing to do with YouTube. It has nothing to do with other YouTubers. It's not anything like that. It has to do with something that this guy, our cat's gay, and I would talk about, and it's other people in my life that if they somehow watch this, I wouldn't. They might figure something out. So I'm not just not going to talk about it. Um, so yeah,
We don't have to put everything on YouTube.
yeah, it's just it's
I
not.
mean, for God, I don't know why people are so
What I'm worried
so
about,
many.
at this moment is that there's people who would be watching this live stream of mine who are addicted to the YouTube drama, who think that maybe they're going to like somehow get some weird dirt on me because I'm going to be talking about it, and they think that I'm going off air to talk to you about this thing because it has something to do with that. It absolutely doesn't at all. In any way, it has to do with like gay guys and our what we talk about. It's for my regular audience that I don't potentially want somebody from my regular audience to hear what we're talking about.
It's
That's
not the skeptosphere. It's the
yeah,
homosphere.
yeah, that's what I'm going to be talking about in private.
Oh my God, we totally have to make that a thing now. The homosphere.
Yeah, that could maybe be at the new gays. We could be the homosphere.
Yeah, that's definitely better than alt gay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna sign off now because I want to talk to you a little bit, and then I want to play a few video games before I go to sleep. I'll talk
Mm.
to you guys all later. Let me just look at the chat and make sure. Oh, my chat's not responding. Is anyone in the chat?
uh, yeah, there's some people in there. They've been talking the whole time. I'm gonna say this wrong. ILC, and Ken of Darkness, Tallytail, Mary Hildreth. Yeah, you guys have been awesome. You've been here the whole time, and oh, they like our idea. Yeah, Tallytail likes the homosphere.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we should the homosphere and yeah, okay. I will talk to you guys later. I'll try to do a stream sometime soon. I've been neglecting streaming, but I should do it more. Okay, bye.